Hey, this is Pastor Chris. We have a special episode of What Did He Mean by That? We just had 59 of our teenagers come back from Word of Life camp. So we thought, what a great opportunity to have some of them in on the podcast, explain what God's doing in their life, how God used camp, and how God just changed some of their lives. We got some great testimonies, so this is going to be a good one.
My name is Dawson. My age is 13. My favorite part about camp is learning more about God and learning how to get the chance to go into the lost and tell the lost about the gospel.
My name is Donovan, and I am turning 15 years old in 2 days. And my favorite part about camp was quiet time, and because I got to be one-on-one with God and also admire His creation. So, yeah.
My name is Ariana Thompson, and I've been to camp 6 times. And my favorite part of camp was worship night because it drew me closer to the Lord, and it was really emotional. And I got to experience it with my friends.
My name is Gracious Emil. I'm 14 years old. I've been to Word of Life 6 times, and my favorite part about last week was worship night and quiet time. I enjoyed the quiet times because our counselor was really focused on getting a nice spot for us to enjoy our quiet time and enjoy nature at the same time.
My name is Jillian Fox. I'm 14 years old, and I've been to camp 6 times. My favorite part about camp this last week was the rallies because I feel like each day we got closer with God, and they were just so fun to go to.
We're recording, but it doesn't matter, so just relax. Everyone relax.
Having a conversation.
We're just having a conversation. We're just talking about stuff. So we have our teens here.
Just
Grayson,
act like all the technology stuff is not there.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Seriously, just act like you're just sitting around the campfire enjoying nature. Now, that was a weird thing. Who said they enjoyed nature? Okay, now, I know that there's a lot of nature at Word of Life, but don't even tell me that there wasn't stupid stuff that people were doing that you enjoyed more than nature. So what was the craziest, stupidest thing that you saw at camp this year? Yeah.
Loved watching Chris be the plumber.
So what's that mean? Explain that.
So we did a comedy night on one of the last nights, and his old role when he was at Word of Life was to play the plumber part in the plays that we did, and it was just funny. I love watching him do that when he gets up on there.
So what about, yeah, go ahead.
I saw people get haircuts at our cabins.
Oh my gosh,
And then-
parents,
And
don't
then
listen right now.
also, one of my friends chugged a Pepsi, a 2-liter of Pepsi, and threw up in it and drank it.
Camp, yes, go ahead, yeah.
I saw people bear crawling up Cardiac Hill for Cabin of the Week.
Oh my
It was just
gosh.
really funny because they kept stopping and just walking up it instead of doing bear crawls.
Yeah, now, Cardiac Hill is named Cardiac Hill for a reason.
My main question is, did they actually win Cabin of the Week for it?
No.
That's my favorite part, is they'll have them just do these stupid things, and they don't even actually help you.
That's great. Well, so I've heard some great things. I know everyone had a really good time at camp. What about from a spiritual aspect? I've been up there. The worship is amazing. The word is amazing. Tell me some of the things you really enjoyed about what you learned in God's word this week.
So every morning we just woke up and had breakfast, but then we had Bible hour, and Bible hour was it felt normal to do it every day, and honestly, with everything that the pastor preached about was I could relate with it really well, and then also it helped me, and Friday is when I really went all in, and that was my experience.
That's awesome.
For me, it was quiet time. Quiet time was after Bible hour, and you just went into a quiet space, and it was just so nice because it's the time for you to take personal time with God instead of getting a pastor preaching to you, and you just get to read the Bible and you highlight and you take notes on your own. It's just so like nice to just take it in a quiet space.
That's cool. Very cool.
So for me, it wasn't just the quiet times, but the rallies too, just all the messages. And then at the campfire service, it's just where instead of we're at the like building where they do it, they get a big campfire together, and they do a service there. That was really good for me. It's when I rededicated my life to Christ, because like the last few years I've been a little bit more separated, so it was a good time for me to gain my relationship back.
Oh, that's cool. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of my main questions is I know that Wednesday night fire is such an impactful time. And I know Grayson was just talking about how he rededicated his life. How did that Monday night gospel rally and then Wednesday night fire, how did that impact you guys last week?
I know like the gospel service is when I first recognized like I needed help, and then the next few days I was thinking about it a lot. We finally got to the campfire service, and that's when it clicked for me.
For me, the campfire, it was a time not really like where I fully made the decision yet, but it really got me to start thinking. And from there, through the whole week, I just couldn't stop thinking about what am I going to do with my relationship with Christ. And Friday, during a song that was just at the rally, just like what we regularly do. And during the song, everybody stopped playing, like the band stopped playing, and it was just the whole room singing Jesus Loves You. And that's when I really like that's when I rededicated my life to Jesus, was when that happened. My heart just fell. So yeah.
I feel like hearing all the testimonies, like especially on Wednesday night, it made me realize like how much I was actually drifting from the Lord, and that I needed to like rededicate myself. And I feel like at the campfire, like I really, especially with the worship songs, like I really just felt in my heart like I needed to go down again.
So 2 years ago at the campfire, the first time I went for summer camp, I dedicated my life. But then I feel like each year I've kind of drifted away a little bit. So I used the campfire this year to rededicate my life, but also let go of a past that I just want to give to God. So that's really helped me, and I've stayed for the past couple of days since camp, stayed loyal to that that I gave to God.
So you guys are getting ready to go back to school. You get back from camp, and at camp you don't have your phones. It's kind of like this separated time where it's like you and God. What are some of the struggles that, you know, either in the past at school or with, you know, social media or phones or just life that you've had that maybe you're worried about or you see coming? And how do you think, you know, your experience at camp can help you in those situations again as they resurface in your life?
I know like the idea about the phone detoxes, like it was a good detox, like not being on your phone every day. I noticed that was like good for you and stuff. And then just going back into school and stuff, I always struggle with like peer pressure, not with just like vaping or drugs or anything, but more just trying to fit in. So like swearing and like using my like voice in vain and stuff. I always struggle with that. So it's definitely something I'm going to try and improve on this year.
I would have to agree with Grayson. A few years ago, I was really messed up, lying all the time, and Wednesday night just really impacted me in my life.
I feel like at school, there's not many people, unless you go to like a Christian school, that not many people there are Christian, and you get not hated on, but picked on constantly for being Christian. And it's so hard to find people that you can trust with that. But last year after camp, I found more people, I feel like, because I was closer to God, and I was able to find people that I think are Christian. I confronted them, and they actually were. So I feel like now that I have a better relationship, it's easier to find people that have a relationship with God.
I feel like before camp, I was kind of like spiritually lazy and didn't want to do anything with my relationship with God. And I feel like with my phone put away last week and just being fully engaged with everything at camp, I have God gave me the courage and wisdom to go out and not be it's not that I won't be afraid anymore, but I'm not afraid about what will happen after it. So
Yeah.
I feel like going with like what Grayson said, like there's a lot of peer pressure at school to do things that like like you should not do. And there's a lot of drama always at school, and it's kind of hard not to get into it because everyone just like drags you into it. So I feel like after like going to camp and just like hearing everything, like now that I know like to show people like I have like the Holy Spirit in me, like not to get into the drama even though it's hard.
I guess I would ask, what do you guys like to those? Because we have a big youth group, and I would say only half went or so. What would you guys say to those who didn't get a chance to go? Like, is it worth it? And if so, why?
I think it is 100% worth it, even if you're going in as a non-Christian or like just any background really. I think it's all worth it. And because not only do you get to like learn more about God, but you get to learn about God while having fun. And I think a lot of people think that Christianity is this rule, like you have to do this, you have to do that. And I think camp could be an opportunity to help them realize that Christianity, while it will be hard, it'll also be like fun. It'll be awesome, and you can learn more about God, and then you can share it with the rest of the world.
I feel like camp is definitely worth it because my first year going, like beforehand, it was like my first year at youth and everything, and I was not very like into the whole Christian thing. And I remember Kip told me about it, and my mom couldn't pay for it at the time, and Kip paid for me to go to camp, and it was like the best year ever. I got saved that year, and like it just brought me a lot closer, and then I started going to youth a lot more and Sundays, and it just made me like a lot more into like Christianity and all that stuff.
I think it's a really good decision to make. Like Donovan said, no matter what your background is, whether you're already a believer, it's still good to see what you need to improve on. Or if you're like clean slate, you don't really know anything about it, I think it's a great chance to improve your relationship or start a relationship with Christ.
Now, one of you guys wants to go to Bible Institute after camp. Who's that? Is she not here?
That one's not here. I don't know about these guys.
Okay, what about you guys? Anyone like feel like, wow, called to ministry? You have experienced something at camp that makes you think like, man, maybe I want to be a pastor, preach the word, be in some sort of counseling ministry. Any of that going on in any of your lives?
So for me, I'm not like a big public speaker, so like I don't think pastoring would be the route I would go down, but just volunteering or helping in any way, I would definitely do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
After my first year of snow camp, they gave us this pamphlet, and it said like, this is like what you could do to get somewhat of a scholarship to the Bible Institute. And I was looking through it, and one of the things is ministry, or like going out, and I saw something is drawing me to like the Dominican Republic, but I don't know at some point if I can go there and help like do discipleship or whatever, but that's what I've been drawn to.
Wow, that's awesome.
So I have definitely taken into consideration of like what I want to do when I'm older, and I've thought about going to the BI, but I feel like as of right now I'm not really like strictly focused on what's going on after high school, even though that's what's on a lot of minds at my school and with kids my age. I think right now I'm more focused on like how I'm gonna even get through high school. So yeah.
I hear you, man. One step at a time. So is there anything, so as we close this with you guys, is there anything you would want, anyone to know about, your experience, maybe someone your age or a parent or someone, just the impact that God's had on your life.
One thing I would want people to know is that you don't have to do good deeds to get closer to God. You just have to trust in your heart with Him.
That's good.
I think a takeaway from camp is that it's a really good opportunity to get closer to God, and while there could be distractions for people with all the fun activities and stuff, but I feel like it could also be a huge opportunity to get personal with God and one-on-one, just in your cabin sitting in bed or something. And I spent a lot of time at camp just thinking in my head, and I think other people can get closer to God just by being one-on-one with Him there.
One thing I want people to know is that not everyone's perfect, and your road's gonna be really bumpy, and you're gonna have your good times and your bad times. But at the end of the day, it's just what you feel in your heart, and that even if you don't tell people how you feel, it doesn't matter unless you believe it in your heart. And yeah.
One thing I want to say is that at camp, the amount of friendships you can pick up that are Christian friendships that are actually good for you and not toxic, and you can actually trust these people. I've created so many friendships in the past 3 years going to camp, and it's just so refreshing to have friends that you can actually trust and talk about God to that aren't going to pick on you.
That's awesome.
So there was an event that took place with Grayson and Donovan at the bookstore. So Grayson, why don't you tell me a little bit about what happened at that bookstore?
So for most of the week, Donovan would always go to the camp store, and he would see the quiet time. That's a whole year, and it was a little bit expensive, so he never pull the trigger on it and would get it. But I knew his birthday was coming up the Sunday we got home, so I bought it for him, and then on his birthday I gave it to him.
That's awesome. That's cool.
How'd that make you feel, Donovan?
I felt I don't really know. I just was so grateful and thankful. I stood up and gave him a hug right away because I knew how much it meant to me, and I think he knows how much it means to me too. So, yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you. Thank you all.
Hi, my name is Sadie Krill. I'm 16. I've went to Word of Life probably 4 times now, 2 for summer camp and then 2 for snow camp. And my favorite part was probably the worship night. It was just really impactful and really powerful, and just being able to kind of really feel Jesus again and reconnect with Him, and I think that was great.
That's awesome.
Okay, my name is Hope Adigan. I am 19 years old, and I am a student at Lemoyne College right now. I did 1 year at Word of Life as a camper, and then 1 as a youth leader. This was my first year as a youth leader. It was definitely an experience for me just being a youth leader, at watching the kids fellowship at a different capacity, not as a camper. Seeing how they operate with one another, how they operate with their counselors, the conversations that they told me that they got to have with them. I think for me also was my personal experience was a worship night, because each of the band members, specifically the drummer, shared not really their testimony, but something just about why they love worship night so much. And one of them that really resonated for me was that the drummer was talking about how, as a worship leader, sometimes you just really have nights for a worship service or a worship night where your heart really just isn't in it, but you do it anyways. And I think that it's something that becomes so second nature, and that's why it resonated with me, because it becomes so second nature to just go through the motions and not really have your heart in the right place. And it was something that resonated for me because it not only made me understand that I wasn't alone in that situation, because I know as a worship leader I do have or someone who leads worship, I have nights like that, but just understanding that it is important that your heart is in it, because other people notice that, and when you realize that other people notice it is when you start to feel it more. So that was probably my big moment.
And so, Sadie, you go to Phoenix.
Yes.
What grade are you in over there?
I'm going into my senior year.
Oh, nice. What do you know what you're going to do after
Yes,
high school?
I
What are you
do.
going to do?
It's actually kind of funny because I've always wanted to do diesel mechanics and welding, and when I went to camp last week, I actually just kind of really had this experience with God when they were talking about the Word of Life Bible Institute.
Let's
and
go.
I'm really thinking about going after I graduate high school, and then, possibly still doing everything that I want to do afterwards.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you have something, Robbie? Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that you can go to school and learn a lot of things that you might not never learn use in life. A lot of people do that. They'll go study a degree that they never use. There's nothing wrong with that, but I will say that you will never waste a year of your life studying the Bible
Yep.
intently.
Yep.
You will use that for the rest of your life. Even if you don't use it in your career, it is something that will be infinitely valuable to you forever.
You still get paid by them? Was that?
So, Sadie, tell me, what's one of the things that's tough in high school now for a lot of the kids around the area that they're going through?
I think it's honestly kids everywhere, but I feel like, honestly, there needs to be a lot more Jesus in school, and I know that sounds kind of stupid, but kids really just don't get along. They're so just judgmental, and honestly, I feel like if we were able to still, every morning before we go to classes, say a prayer or, just actually have a physical conversation with each other instead of, sitting next to each other in class and having to text each other. I feel like that would help so much more, just having that physical contact with each other.
So, what'd you like about getting up there at camp? I know you guys put your phones away
Yeah,
and everything.
I loved it.
Was that cool for
Yep,
you?
I loved it. I love it every single year, and honestly, I kind of hate to come home and have to, have my phone again.
Yeah, there's like a saying when Rob and I used to work there. They say like kids look forward to the week without their phone,
Yep.
and that's so like countercultural because everything you hear
Yeah.
is, oh, we don't want to give up our phone, we don't want to end our Snapchat streak, all that stuff. But it's people say that that's the best part of their summer
Yeah.
is being away from their phone, which I think is just us realizing that. Probably more than that is you're inputting that time that you put on your phone into a relationship with the Lord,
Right.
And that's what really develops that.
And I know like the counselors still have their phones, so it's like, why are we have to give up our phones when they don't? But really, like they very intentionally in training, they put their phones away during meals and stuff just so they know what it's like, and they need them for communication purposes. But for all other than that, like it is a complete like phone free experience, and it is there's something just being free from that. Like you don't understand how heavy it is in your pocket. You're always feeling those ghost vibrations and stuff, but it's nice being free from it.
Well,
And something Pastor Kip has always said too is that we're the most connected generation, but the most lonely generation.
Yep.
And I really do believe that because we're constantly, texting one another when, you can have your best friend live in the house down from you and you can't even go have a conversation with them. And I think that that's something that, has really affected our generation a lot is social media.
yeah. Now, Hope and Sadie, what is something you learned at camp that you can take on to this school year and apply? Or what is something that you learned that you're looking forward to practicing?
Want me to go first? So it's actually something that I've talked to Kip about because the school that I go to is very very liberal, but they quote unquote follow the Church of Jesus Christ. So not only is it like it feels more like a Catholic school that I'm going to, but also if we really want to talk about having biblically based morals, they don't really stand by those things. So something that I've talked to with Pastor Kip, or I've talked to Kip about, I've talked to my parents about, my sister, that I've really tried my hardest to live by is my mom always tells me that you might be the only Jesus that somebody sees on a day-to-day basis. So just really staying true to that, like, and it's hard. It's hard for me at times because I'm in college. There's a lot of things that most college kids, if you don't go to some place that's like the Bible Institute or Liberty, it really feels like you're missing out on stuff. But just being able to understand that in the long run, that's going to hurt your relationship with the Lord more than it's going to help it. And really just being okay with standing out in a different way, because there are a lot of people that stand out in their own ways that really aren't biblically situated or biblically sound, but just being able to be okay with standing out on that basis and being able to still live by your relationship with the Lord, still being able to live by those biblical morals. So I think that that's something that I've talked about a lot with Kip, and something that I actually got to talk to, I think it was Jordan, during the leaders dinner that we had on Monday. We had actually a couple campers specifically that we were praying for, and I am someone that I struggle with saying I'll pray for you and then remembering and making it a point to actually do it. And even just something as small as that, like actually once you do start praying for those people, you really see not only how it impacts those people, but how it impacts you and your walk with the Lord. So that was something that I think was an experience that I had at camp that I can take in everyday life.
What about you, Sadie?
I really like what you said about how, we could be the only Jesus somebody sees, because something I definitely learned that I would really like to take to school is that, you never know where somebody comes from. You never know what they go home to. You don't know what their life is like outside of school. And if me personally, if I could, be a role model at school to people and talk about Jesus in any way, whether it's, just saying, hey, Jesus loves you, as simple as it may seem, or actually sitting down and having a conversation with them, I think that would truly help a lot of people.
Yeah, Friday night, you guys were challenged to write someone's name on the board that you wanted to share the gospel with. Were either of you guys able to do that? Both of you? Mm-hmm. How did that go?
It was a touching experience for me, because this friend so I wrote 2 people down, but the one that I was able to have the conversation with, just because I'm not as close with the other one, so I've had a couple conversations with her, and she actually did attend our church for a while. They just don't come on a frequent basis. So the one that I was able to talk to, I've known for maybe 10 or 11 years now. We played club soccer together for a couple years, and we're on the same college team now, and she's just been through a crazy amount of stuff that's happened to her in the last year. And it's a conversation that I kind of got to go back to that we had a couple months ago, and she was like, I could tell that she really didn't take her religion very seriously, because her family goes to a Catholic church. But she was like, if the question that a lot of people ask, even if they're not really exploring what it truly means to be a Christian, like they're just somebody who is outside of the walls of the church that just wants to challenge somebody, where they're like, if God cares so much about his people, why would he let these things happen to them? And it was one of those things where I got to go through not only what happened in Genesis that really led to why we are where we are, and more so that it was because of man, not at all because of God, because he didn't want for Adam or Eve to eat from the tree, and that's what they did. So not only did I get to explain that to her, but understanding how I was able to talk to her about the fact that, like, no matter what bad happens to you in your life, God always turns that around for your good. And part of being able to see that and have faith in that and be able to trust that is having a relationship with him. And we're not at the point that she has turned her life around and and been led to Christ yet, but we're slowly getting there. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for your faithfulness in that. Sadie, how did it go for you?
I also wrote down 2 people. I wrote down my little brother. He's a little young right now to fully understand it, but when he gets older, I definitely would just love to be a role model in his life. But also, I wrote down one of my friends who actually went to the camp, and she had a lot of issues on, what we talked about throughout the week, which was doubt. And she had a lot of issues about whether or not she belonged at camp, whether or not she belonged in the church, and just being able to pray for her and then later on have a conversation with her about that. That was really good.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That is so cool.
We saw some crazy videos on that people were posting. What was one of the crazy things that, parents don't get to hear this and don't get to see it, but what were some of the fun, crazy experiences you had at camp? Those are always good to remember. Do you have any like that?
If you,
okay.
you look like you have it more than
Yeah,
I
you
do.
were in the cabin life.
Sadie had a big smile.
Cabin life just takes you a different route.
Yeah, honestly, a lot of the stuff that happened in the cabins, but they also had this thing called the banana boat. It was kind of like tubing, but 12 people could fit on there, and me and a bunch of my girls from the cabin went on there, and it was crazy because he was like, the guy who's driving the boat, he's, you're not going to fall off, it's not that bad. And we didn't fall off, but there was definitely a couple of times where we were fully submerged underwater still on the tube. So, yeah.
I think mine, and it was fun because I got to videotape it at the end of the week, but it's really funny to see how the red versus blue competition for the entire week brings you closer to people that you probably would have never met if you went to camp before.
Wild.
And I got to take a video because at the end of the week they have they always tie it into like what the theme is for the week. So this week it was mutiny, and the first day that we were there on Sunday night for the night rally, the story was about these 4 pirates, and there were 2 for the red team, 2 for the blue team, and throughout the week they had like little clips of them getting closer and closer to finding the treasure, and the treasure at the end of the week was basically the telltale of who won like the competitions for the week, like whether it was red or blue. And I got the whole thing on video, and it was so funny to see not only how it played out, but to see how excited everybody got, because there's a couple games that you play towards the beginning of the week that most people are under the impression like if you don't win this game you can't win anything else for the entire week. Like once you win that game you're basically set for the entire week, and it was Boobar Bash. And
what a classic.
and red lost that night, but turned around the entire week and came back and won at the end of the week, and I got to get the ceremony on video, so it was really fun.
And when they announce the winner, you don't just hear it, you feel it.
Yeah.
Like
You
that
do.
whole place is rumbling. I feel like the island has moved a couple feet over the years. Just 'cause of the stomping in that place.
Yeah.
My name is Chris DeCola. I just became the student director here. Prior to this, for 2 years, I was working as a camp ministries intern as the program coordinator for Word of Life, working on the Ridge, and I did a little bit of program on the island as well. My favorite thing from camp last week was honestly just re-experiencing camp. Like I love camp. It's just where I grew a lot in my relationship with the Lord. Like I was telling them, there's a cabin called Paul's Place left, and my name's on the wall, and that was the year that I got saved, and it just means a lot to me. I just love camp.
So you just heard from Chris DeCola. He is our new student director. What a blessing he's going to be to our body here at Northside. Chris has a vast experience at Word of Life, and I first encountered Chris as a program director with the Ridge, and this guy's crazy, gets in the mud, has fun with students, and his first day on the job was jumping in a van, headed up to camp, which was his natural element, and I think we heard that from him.
Yeah, Chris, man, I got to go out to camp on Friday a little bit and then bring the kids back, and it was just cool getting to see you interact with first the people you know and love at camp, but also getting to see, I can't tell you how many times they got to call you the plumber, and it wasn't just our kids, but it was like everybody was like, "There's the plumber." So clearly, comedy night had just happened the night before, and Chris made a name for himself. How was it being back at camp this time as a youth leader rather than a worker?
It was definitely a unique position because I've never just been in that kind of position. It just was always at Word of Life. It's always kind of the go. You go until it's done, and you figure it out. If you can't figure it out, you have to figure it out anyway. It's just the way it is. But like seeing it from the youth perspective of just not having to do anything and actually being able to be a part of it and receive some of it instead of just being someone that's giving it out is definitely different. It was difficult because I was like, oh, I'm with all my old friends. Let me go help with this. Let me go do this. But just taking a moment and pausing and realizing, oh my gosh, this was a huge part of my life, and it was a big part of my chapter and how I met with the Lord. It was definitely a unique and exciting thing. Loved it. 10 out of 10. It was crazy.
That's awesome. Pastor Kip, we had, like I said in the intro, we had 59 students going up there. Tell us I've heard some amazing stories. Tell us, is there a story or two that sticks out to you about God just radically changing some of the lives of these teenagers?
Yeah, so without getting into personal details, God was working from the time we arrived at camp, and the whole process is bathed in prayer. You're up there with other youth leaders. You're up there with almost 500 campers. And we had one student in particular that's been having a challenge and been praying for this student. And I watched another student who's so deeply involved in student ministry. The night of the gospel presentation, she's like, do you want to go down? I saw her trying to usher her down, like, did you make a decision? Are you ready to go down and take that step to confirm that you put your trust in Jesus? And I watched the one student come alongside her, and the student was like, no, I'm not ready. You saw that body language. You fast forward to the campfire night where they're doing dedications and they're throwing sticks in, and it's a much darker, way more intimate environment because there's no light, it's just the fire. And then these two kids come over to me, and the one girl who's walking alongside her peer trying to encourage her, she's just weeping and says, do you see who threw a stick in? And it was just powerful to see this young lady surrender her life to Christ. It's huge.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, in my experience, God impacted my life in a huge way.
Right.
When I was a teenager, and I'm sure all of us have those experiences from camp. It's like those highlights. It's like where God brings us up to the pinnacle of the mountain. Those camp experiences, and then the reality of life kind of hits. Whether it's school for these young people, and we ask them, is there anything you're worried about going back into life? How do you guys see youth ministry as a support for parents, even to continue that commitment that they make at camp through the tough times in life when they get back into Liverpool High School or CNS?
Well, the tough times start the minute they get their phones back.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah.
Chris and I had lunch with a student this week, and he says, man, I really guarded my heart against the spiritual high of camp because I didn't want to have the spiritual high and be all in and then come back out and just fall back into my sinful ways. And to see this young man reach out and say, hey, can we meet? I got to talk to you about some things. And to hear him share his heart, student ministry is a great place for these kids to hear, be around young adults that are living out and on that journey. None of us are perfect, and they get to see that even when we falter, our need to run quickly back to the cross and seek God's forgiveness and to just move forward from our mistakes. But student ministry, that's why we got Chris, because he's going to bring another level of youthfulness, being less than half of my age. Like he's a kid, but there's such depth to him. And for kids to see somebody like Chris, who is passionate about the Word, passionate about his relationship with the Lord, passionate about showing his need for Christ, we're going to model that for these kids.
Yeah, it's going to be a great example for them.
Having him is going to be a huge blessing.
So, Chris,
Yeah.
now having all that laid before you, the goal being up here now.
Kip got rid of my strategy, man. I set the bar low, man.
How do you feel like camp set you up for success in that?
Oh, camp. So just like understanding the work, like how camp works, and just being able to, I guess, cheat. I feel like I really jump-started myself with camp in the sense of I got to meet I hopped in a van. This was the first time I met them. The first time I met Jillian was when Jillian said, I'm going to throw up. That was that's what happened. But it was just crazy hopping in a van going and then seeing all the people I used to work with really closely. And then like I got to cheat in the sense of they all know who I am already, and they can see that from a camper perspective, they can see, some of the campers even like know me because they've been coming for years, but it's like, oh, we know this guy, or they know who he is. And then being able to participate in a comedy night, because that's what I used to do, was really cheating. Being the plumber cheating, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, DeCola stock went up at comedy night, and he can take a slap too.
True.
How would you guys encourage the parents that listen to this podcast? I mean, I remember being a youth pastor, and you always get those parents that are concerned about sending their kids to youth ministry. You know, it can be like this in between ground where they're not sure. Encouraging that, hey, we're not trying to parent your child. We're just trying to come alongside you and help you minister spiritually to your child. What would you say to some of the parents?
Yeah, I would say the first, probably one of the greatest challenges for the parents is when they send them to camp. Just this is camp specific right now. They get the separation anxiety. How are they doing? Are they doing all right? They're going through a hard time. I'm not there to support them. And those hard times are the very things that God is using in our campers' lives and watching them have success and overcome that. A lot of growth happens there. Fast forward to camp or to youth group. They're the parents. God has called them to be the spiritual leaders of their homes. Our job is to come alongside, teach biblical truths, foster an environment where these kids can have a community, because I think you'll hear it. These kids struggle with peer pressure. They struggle with the world that they walk into outside of the walls of this building, don't necessarily value or appreciate the things that they're growing to believe and trust in as they follow Jesus. And we want to have this be a safe place where they can come, they can have fun, they can worship God, they can hear the word of God, they can be challenged, and then they can have vulnerable conversation when they come and say, man, I didn't do well with this. I'm struggling with this sin in my life. How do I do this? Can God really love me? And we just reinforce what the Bible teaches and come alongside what the parents are doing with their kids. So
I think that the importance of youth ministry is really meeting the kids where they're at and understanding, listen, like we won't be a parental, like we will be a figure, but not the parental figure. We could speak into their lives differently than a parent could, just because it's just a different position. You view your parent as an authoritative figure, and yes, you should be, but being in youth ministry, coming alongside them saying, hey, this is from a biblical standpoint, what this says on X, Y, and Z, and then pointing them back to that way. And then, Lord willing, the parent is teaching them, so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's good. It's kind of like a supplement. It's that other voice. You know, it's...
You say it, falls on deaf ears, comes from me, it's gold.
All of a sudden, it's gold. Yeah.
Why is it gold for me when your parents have been saying that? They're like,
wait a minute, I've been saying that for years, and you didn't listen to me. And then Chris DeCola comes and says it, and you start to do it.
Oh, you'll believe him? He's the plumber.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And to be honest with you, it's why Northside, like, the youth ministry is so important here. What people need to understand is we have a youth pastor. We hired a youth director. We have a kids pastor, a family pastor. We hired a kids director. We have hired an upward director. I mean, we are pouring money, time, and energy into the next generation. So if you're worried about your children, we are focusing on the nursery to elementary to middle school to high school. We have a young adults pastor. We are focusing on this next generation because we see the importance of them. I grew up in a place where I heard my pastor say, well, youth ministry, the teens don't tithe, so, we're not really going to focus on that. Are you stinking kidding me?
Right.
Like, they are the church today. Like, give me a break. I want to see us, and we are pouring in full-time personnel as well as money into our kids' middle school, young adult, high school ministries. So, it's incredibly important to me. I think it's important to God. It's important to every single one of us in here. That's why we're doing a podcast about it. So, parents need to understand the importance. And of having other voices in their children's lives, and our goal is not to contradict your voice. Our goal is not to speak over your voice. Our goal is just to supplement a biblical voice. What does the Bible say? Not how do we think your child should be raised isn't part of the equation. It's, we're just here to tell your kids, hey, this is what the Bible says, and come alongside you and help you in any way that we can.